I have some news for you. If your Navy Fed loan application is under review, there are a few things you need to do. There are a few hacks you need to apply to actually kick things in your way, okay? Stick around till the end of today's conversation because I'm going to spill the beans. Edition of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to speak to you about the Navy Federal loan application. If your loan application is under review, there are a few things you need to do, okay? Now, first of all, let me just give you an overview here, okay? When we talk about the Navy Fed personal loan, what are we talking about really? Well, this is a personal loan that actually can help you cover a lot of things, okay? You can actually take care of planned and unplanned expenses, okay? This loan actually is great for a lot of stuff, like good for auto repairs, moving and relocating, let's say debt consolidation, vacations, and other major purchases. What we love with this loan is that it's the flexibility. That Navy Fed places no restriction whatsoever on your ability to use the funds. Okay, some other personal lenders, if you will place restrictions on how you can use the funds and whatnot. Okay, but Navy Fed doesn't do that. So with this, the delta in this loan amount is $250,000 to $50,000. Okay, that's a huge delta here. So you can borrow from $250 to $50,000. Okay, and the APR actually is based on the tenor of the loan. It's based on the maturity of the loan. So if the terms go all the way to 36 months, you have an APR that goes from 7.49% to 18%, okay? And if you're applying for a longer tenor, let's say you go from 37 months to 60 months, then Navy Fed kind of sees a higher risk here, and they raise their APR accordingly. So we have 14.79% to 18%. Here we have it, okay? So you can use the loan as a personal expense loan. You can use the loan also as a home improvement loan, okay? This is really good. So you get quick cash to finance your home improvement or repair projects. This is really good. So you can use the cash here for home repairs, remodeling, or efficiency upgrades. You know, everybody is into the whole green technology stuff. Let's say you want to put some solar panels on your house and on your roof rather, and this could be Navy Fed could be great for that. Okay, so no collateral is required. You have $25,000 minimum loan amount for 60 to 84 months and $30,000 minimum loan amount for 85 to 180 months. Okay, they give you up to 180 months. So here, this is kind of cool. You can also use the cash you can also use this loan for debt consolidation. This is really good also. And for debt consolidation, you just have to let Navy Fed know whom to pay or whether or not you want them to give the cash, and you yourself has to consolidate the loan, okay? But so this is the trifecta. You can use the loan for home improvement, debt consolidation, or just as a personal loan. Now, one thing I want to talk to you, let me talk to you about the timing. See, the thing is, if your Navy Fed loan application is under review, I don't want you to panic, okay? Don't really worry about it. You don't have to make a big fuss out of it. I mean, don't make a federal case out of it. The whole thing is that it takes time. Why? How long does it take to review a loan application? Anybody knows that? What? 6 months? You're joking, right? 6 months. 6 days? No. Well, a Navy Fed loan application takes about 24 to 48 hours. If you got all the paperwork right, 24 to 48 hours, you should get a decision, okay? But it really depends overall, because when you apply for a loan online, you actually learn the status of your loan application within minutes, okay? And if your application has been accepted, you are often able to make online purchases with your new loan number right away. That's really what it is. Now, if you apply in the mail, it takes longer. If you apply at a branch also, it might take 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 days. It's all about, let's say, how complete your application, your paperwork is, okay? If you answered all the questions they have, things should be really fast, okay? Now, one thing I want to say here is that sometimes it can take all the way to 10 days, 7 to 10 days to actually get the physical check that represents the loan amount. Yeah. Because, all the paperwork, bureaucracy, red tape, and whatnot. At Navy Fed, So those things happen. Okay, this is a big institution. They have thousands of loan applications, or even maybe tens of thousands of loan applications to process every single day. So yeah, things could be slow. Now, one thing I want to say is that sometimes Navy Fed needs an additional time. They need an additional time to review a loan application and make a final decision. Okay, that means that you may receive the message that your application is pending or under review, right? And this is not what you want anyway, but it happens. So many pending loan applications are resolved within a few days, though it can take 2 weeks or more for Navy Fed to complete the review process. So here are my pro tips. If your loan application is under review, you just have to be patient. That's what it is, because the ball is not in your court anymore. The ball is in the Navy Fed's court, and they have to play the ball and let you know, notify you as soon as a decision is made. There's nothing you could, don't try to bother them like, hey, I want to have the status of my loan every second, every day. You just calling them. No, let them do the work. Okay. I want to talk to you about the reasons. Let's just talk about that. So your Navy Fed personal loan application is under review. So there are a few reasons why this could happen. Okay. And one thing I want to say is that Navy Fed occasionally needs extra time to accept or decline a loan application. Okay. So, and this is, here are some of the most common reasons why your Navy Fed loan application might still be under review. So number one, the information you included on your application might not match the information on your credit report. That's what it is. Okay, Mike, this is for you. Sometimes you make mistakes on a loan application. What? You don't? Well, you make mistakes. Remember the last time you applied for the PenFed loan, you actually made mistakes on your address. Well, those little things are important. You might be thinking this is just a typo, but a typo signals to Navy Fed that the information on your loan application is different from what you have in your credit report. So they might deny your ass. That's the thing. I want you to quit thinking that, hey, no, Mike, slow down, hold your horses. What I'm trying to say is your credit report has some kind of information. If you're saying that you live in a zip code of 07665, but you actually live in a zip code of 07666, shout out to my folks in Teaneck, New Jersey. If you live in that neighborhood, but there's a problem because you are showing that you live in 07665, even though you live in actuality in 07666. Okay, it's important. So maybe you accidentally mistyped your phone number, for example, or your zip code, or perhaps you recently moved and your credit report hasn't yet updated to reflect your new address. So this could cause some kind of problem. If you recently applied for a lot of new credit, Navy Fed may want to investigate your recent credit inquiries to determine whether you might be planning to take on more debts than you can pay off. Okay. And Navy Fed might suspect identity fraud. So if there are discrepancies between your application and your credit report, or if you applied for multiple loans within a single day, for instance, okay, Navy Fed might wonder if someone else is trying to take out credit in your name. Let's say you live in California, but you take out a loan at a Navy Fed branch in New Jersey, for instance, okay? And Navy Fed might want to verify your application. There are things that they want to verify. They'll contact you to verify the personal information or income information you included on your application, okay? Or Navy Fed might be overwhelmed with applications. It happens. Maybe they're having a high season, a high volume of applications to process. This could be a problem why your application is under review, okay? So the approach here is what is the approach? The approach again is for you to be patient, okay? But when you fill out the form, the loan application, Navy Fed loan application, please be accurate, okay? Be complete. You want to put the right amount of income you're making. You want to put the right address, okay? So little pieces of info you might be thinking are too little, but they could cause a divergence between your information on the loan application and the information in your records. Let me now give you a few tips that you really want to apply, okay? What to do if your application is pending. First of all, I've said before that you just have to be patient. You have to hold your horses, okay? Don't do anything. Don't try to bother people, man. Trying to call every now and then. No. Who wants that anyway? trying to nag them. Can you please, do you know where my credit card? Hey. Take it easy, okay? Don't you try to ask every day what happened to your money, what happened to your loan application. It is in the system. They'll notify you, okay? What do you do in the meantime? Well, you want to watch your mail. Yeah. Nearly all lenders, including Navy Fed, send information about their application decisions through the mail, whether to congratulate you on your approval or explain why your loan application was declined. So you want to actually check your mailbox regularly to make sure you haven't missed any letters, okay? Very important, especially for folks who travel all the time. You want to make sure that your mail has been monitored for that, especially when you applied for a Navy Federal loan, okay? And you want to monitor your email. So you can watch your snail mail, your regular mail, okay, USPS mail, but you can also monitor your email because your loan application decision will often arrive by both postal mail and email. And in most cases, you will receive the email first, right? So you want to keep an eye on your inbox and don't forget to check your spam folder, okay? And Navy Fed, it really depends on the part of the country that you live, because Navy Fed, in some states, they will send you an email. It depends on what they do in your state, okay? And you want to you can log into your online portal. So if you already have an online account with Navy Fed, you might be able to log into your online portal to check on the status of your new credit application, okay, your new loan application, okay, very important. So you really want to be on that also. And one thing we have seen is that if you log into your dashboard, you probably see pending loan application pending. You'll see that status, or you can call customer service. So if you are still waiting to hear back on your application status, you can always contact Navy Fed customer service, okay? And sometimes Navy Fed could have a dedicated application status phone line. Otherwise, you can just simply call the main customer service phone number, okay? That's what it is. So here is a winner strategy. You want to actually, first, you want to check your regular USPS mail, okay? Then you want to monitor your email. Okay, and simultaneously, you can log into your online portal to see the status. If you don't see anything in those through those three means, then you want to contact customer service. Number 5, I want to talk to you about checking. So, how do you check your loan application status? And the bigger question is that you actually have to understand that what we talk about, what is instant approval versus approval that happens, let's say, 4 months or 4 weeks or 4 days later, right? And this is important because Leroy, I want you to pay attention because you asked that question before. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Was it what? 3 weeks ago. Okay, you asked the question about checking your loan application, right? Well, loan application, really, as I said before, it takes 1 or 2 days normally if everything is right. But sometimes it takes longer, okay, because of issues. I don't know the issue, but it really takes some time. One thing you want to do is you can actually visit a branch. Yeah, because I'll talk to you about calling customer service, monitoring your email, blah, blah, blah. But if you live in the vicinity of a Navy Fed branch, guess what? Just walk into a branch. If the staff in the branch is not too busy, they'll just answer you, okay? And you can actually also call a number, 1-888-842-6328, 1-888-842-6328. Okay, well, the thing here is that this is if you don't have instant approval, but instant approval of your loan application should be something you want to work towards. In other words, that's the sweet spot that you get approved. Either you apply online and you get approved right away, or you get approved within a few hours, okay? So instant approval is possible when it comes to a Navy Fed personal loan. A lot of people get that, yes. Oh, yes. Because everybody thinks that, when you apply for a Navy Fed personal loan, it takes 24 hours, 48 hours, or 72 hours for them to get back to you. You are probably not hanging out with the right folks, because we know in our team, including our own team members, when we applied for a Navy Fed loan, we get the cash within 8 hours. Yeah. That's the beauty. That's the sweet spot in instant approval, okay? And you want to be in that territory too. So instant approval loans from Navy Fed are exactly what they sound like. When you apply for let's say for the loan, you get an answer ASAP. Okay, this could be instantly, it could be 1 hour, it could be 2 hours, it can be a few hours. Okay, but you need to have the credit, and I'll talk about the credit later on. You need to have the credit score and the credit level to qualify for an instant approval loan from Navy Fed. So big decision time, boss. What are you doing right now to actually get closer to instant approval loan status, instant approval loan application status? What are you doing right now? Are you working on your credit score? Are you working on your liquidity level? Are you working on your income? What are you doing? Talk to me about the movements that's going on in your life to make sure that you actually trigger all the things that matter when it comes to instant approval loans. Don't you go anywhere. I'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, folks, to another session of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still having a conversation with you about the Navy Federal loan application under review. Okay, there are a few things you need to do to make sure that you kick off the application finally in your favor. In other words, you have a favorable outcome, right? That's what we want. And I want to talk to you now about credit. So you need to actually you need to limit how much credit you apply for a Navy Fed in the meantime. What I'm trying to say is, let's say you apply for a personal loan, you want 25 grand from Navy Fed, right? And it says your application is under review, and it's been a few days. It has been let's say even 1 week or 2 weeks, and you kind of panicky, right? But again, you don't have to panic. No, take it easy. Just breathe. All right. No need to start a pity party and saying, whining around the neighborhood. Yeah, I don't know. I've applied for this loan and they ain't getting back to me. And I think they probably will deny my ass. No, just take it easy. There is a reason why it's taking long. Okay. And so, but in the meantime, you don't want to open any new credit card. I don't care from Navy Fed or any other institution. Don't apply for new credit. You want to limit how much credit you apply for unless you really need the money. But you don't want to do that. Don't apply for a credit card. Do not apply for a loan. Do not apply for a personal line of credit. Okay. Don't even let a hard pull hit your credit score, because anything else could actually tilt the whole decision in your not in your favor. What I'm trying to say is, when they're reviewing your loan application, if they check your credit score and realize, hey, listen, this person is constantly applying for new credit or constantly having recent inquiries in her account or in his account, this is really bad. Okay, you want to stay in contact with NFCU in the meantime, but you don't want to apply for credit. Okay, so money. You want to limit your request of money from Navy Fed in the meantime. Very important. Okay, and I don't care if you have received a great credit card pre-qualification offer and you feel like, listen, this is the card I really want to check. I really want to use. Blah 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 blah. Listen, a pre-qualification offer is valid for 30 days. In some cases, for 45 days. So hold your horses. Nothing's going to happen. Just wait a few days. Wait for the decision to come out about your Navy Fed personal loan application, and then you can apply for the credit card you so want to have. I want to talk to you now about tactics, boss. We are still having a conversation about your Navy Fed loan application under review. What do you do to actually kick things off favorably? Okay, and it's important to understand that when we talk about Navy Fed loan application in general, there are a few quintessential elements, and that's what we call tactics. What do you do? What kind of strategies you have to put in place? What kind of tactics you have to put in place? Well, here are 5 keys of loan application, especially with Navy Fed. So here are the most fundamental characteristics that Navy Fed and all lenders, for that matter, will concentrate on. So you have your credit history. So when we talk about credit history, we talk about what? We talk about your FICO score, of course, but we also speak about your Navy Fed internal score. Do you know your Navy Fed internal score? Do you have an idea? You got to know this, boss. You got to know this. You can't be walking around telling people, I have a low FICO score, but okay. So what? So what? Is your Navy Fed internal score better or not? So the credit history is really important, and you want to check your credit score to know exactly where you're at. Okay. And second thing is your cash flow history. Okay, I'm talking about your cash flow. In other words, your money, your money making machine. Do you have a job? Do you have a full-time job? Do you have a part-time job? Do you have a seasonal job? What kind of work do you have? And it's also really important that when we talk about employment with Navy Fed, they want to verify your employment. In other words, they want to make sure you have a legit job, okay? Because some of us really are making money, but they can't justify the income. And we want to get to a position where we can verify the income and we can tell the authorities and Navy Fed, for that matter, that the money that we are pulling in is legit money, okay? And also, maybe for the Navy Fed personal loan is actually an unsecured loan. In other words, they don't require collateral. But the thing is that you want to show Navy Fed that you do have some assets, that your net worth is positive, and that push comes to shove, you might want to collateralize the loan. Okay, they're not asking you to do it, but if you want to beef up your chances of approval, you can say, you know what, I'm actually I'm willing to collateralize this loan. Okay, and also pay attention to your history with Navy Fed. How do you handle your accounts? Your character as a member, your character as a checking account, as a savings account holder. Okay, your character as a card holder, for that matter. So there are several tools you can use to actually boost your chances of being approved for a Navy Fed loan. We are talking about you can use apps. You can use there are apps to help you monitor your credit. Okay, you can sign up for platforms such as Credit Karma. You have Nerd Wallet. You have Wallet Hub. Those actually help you boost your chances of being approved for any credit card or personal loan that you apply for, because they show you that your FICO score is either going up or going down, and this is important. So your credit history overall is really important. Navy Fed and all lenders, for that matter, will check your credit history, okay, before approving you. So please be careful here. Thank you so much for your attention. Today's conversation, I was just talking to you about the Navy Federal loan application under review. What do you do, and all the things that you need to know about that status. So I gave you an overview. I spoke to you about timing. I spoke to you about the reasons, the tips. I give you a few tips here and how you can check your credit history and some tactics. Thank you so much. I will speak to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.